All right, let's just jump right in. Have you ever, really stopped to think about how incredibly hard your brain works? I mean, every single second, it's just processing, calculating, making decisions. It's wild. And to keep from totally short circuiting, it's developed this whole set of, well, secret shortcuts. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain and take a look at these amazing mental tools. I mean, seriously, just think about your day so far. From the second you woke up, it's just been a nonstop flood of choices, right? It's it's really easy to feel completely overwhelmed by the sheer volume of it all. You're constantly dealing with the small stuff, what to eat for lunch, which route to take to work, what to watch on TV tonight. These things seem so minor, but man, they really add up. It's a real mental load. And that's not even counting the big stuff, the heavy hitters. Solving that tricky puzzle, trying to figure out a really tough problem at work, or just navigating a difficult conversation. The list goes on and on. So you've got this endless stream of problems, right? From the tiny to the truly massive. It's a huge challenge. So, how in the world does our brain keep up without getting totally bogged down? What's the secret sauce? Well, the answer is actually this brilliant and incredibly efficient strategy. It uses something called heuristics. Now, that might sound like a fancy word, but just think of them as your brain's secret shortcuts. They're the rules of thumb that help you navigate the world without having to stop and analyze every single little detail. So, what is a heuristic officially? It's basically a mental shortcut that simplifies how you make decisions. And here's the key thing. It's not about finding the absolute 100% perfect answer every single time. Nope, it's about finding a good enough solution and finding it fast, especially when a perfect, flawless answer is either impossible or would just take way, way too long to figure out. And what's really cool is this quote here from George Polya. This guy was a mathematician who literally wrote the book on problem solving. He said that heuristics are kind of like the wisdom of Proverbs. And when you think about it, that makes perfect sense, right? A proverb like, say, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, that's not a math equation. It's a rule of thumb for making a decision. That right there is a heuristic in action. And here's the thing. You are using these shortcuts all the time, constantly, whether you even realize it or not. So let's look at a few examples that I bet you'll recognize right away. Okay, first up, it's raining outside. What do? You bring an umbrella, right? This is a classic common sense heuristic. You don't run a full meteorological analysis. You just see rain, grab the umbrella. It's a quick, effective fix for a simple problem. Or how about this one? A driver takes the same exact route to work every single day, even though they know a faster way probably exists. This is called the familiarity heuristic. Your brain just defaults to the known path because honestly, it takes less mental energy, even if it's not the most efficient route. It's just the path of least resistance. And then there's this. Assuming someone is, I don't know, arrogant just because they're quiet and reserved. Now, this is a social heuristic, a shortcut based on some preconceived idea. And this is where things can get a little tricky, because while it's fast, it's also where some pretty significant errors in judgment can start to creep in. So, if heuristics are the shortcut, what's the scenic route? To really truly get what a heuristic is, it really helps to compare it to its much more rigid, step-by-step cousin, the algorithm. Think of it this way, right? To really appreciate a good shortcut, you have to know what the long way around looks like. So let's put these two problem-solving strategies right next to each other and see how they stack up. Okay, this slide illustrates the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got an algorithm. Think of it like a baking recipe. It's super precise, right? A step-by-step procedure that if you follow it exactly, guarantees a perfect cake every single time. But you have to follow it to the letter. Now, a heuristic on the right, that's more like trying to navigate rush hour traffic in a big city. You use your experience, maybe you check a traffic app, you make some educated guesses to find a route that's probably faster. It might not be the absolute fastest possible path down to the second, but it's good enough and it saves you a ton of mental effort. And that brings us to the absolute core concept of heuristics, the trade-off. You are basically trading flawless, perfect accuracy for speed and efficiency. They are incredibly useful, but they're not perfect. Just look at this table. It lays out the trade-off really clearly. The pros, they're all about efficiency. Heuristics are fast, they're adaptable, and they save us precious mental energy. But that speed comes at a price, and that's what you see over in the cons column. By taking that shortcut, you're no longer guaranteed a perfect solution, and you open the door to making consistent errors and falling into what psychologists call cognitive biases. And probably one of the most common and frankly dangerous examples of a heuristic gone wrong is stereotyping. I mean, at its core, a stereotype is a mental shortcut. It's our brain trying to quickly make sense of a person or a situation we've never seen before. So it classifies them based on really limited information and these preconceived notions we already have. And while this might feel efficient in the moment, it is an incredibly flawed tool that can lead to major errors in judgment and really harmful social biases. So, where does that leave us? Are heuristics just bad? No, not at all. The key is to see them for what they really are, an essential, but yeah, an imperfect tool. Look, heuristics themselves aren't inherently good or bad. They're a fundamental part of how we function. Seriously, without them, we'd be totally paralyzed by indecision, trying to analyze every single piece of data for every minor choice we make. They are absolutely essential. So the goal then isn't to stop using heuristics. I mean, that's pretty much impossible. The real goal is to become aware of them, right? When you can actually understand the mental shortcut you're about to take, you suddenly have the power to decide, okay, is this rule of thumb actually helpful here, or do I maybe need to slow down and think a little deeper on this one? So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. Now that you've kind of seen behind the curtain of your brain's decision-making process, what mental shortcut do you think you'll notice yourself using first? Pay attention, because the answer might actually surprise you.